Kaya, what's going on? This is the third. Wait, no, it's not. It's the fourth Something Clever podcast. Thank you, anyone that's listening, sharing, following. It's been an interesting week and a half. Sorry, I was hoping to do one of these once a week. Shit just keeps getting crazy, man. And shout out to Alex Dyson for tagging me in a few posts and doing more for my socials than any sort of promoting or any of that other garbage I've done in the past. But yeah, it has been an interesting week and a half, nearly 2 weeks, where the last I was talking about the protests in the States, and then since then we've had the ones around the country, Black Lives Matter, Indigenous Lives Matter, all that sort of stuff. So basically the world's going to fucking, not hell, it's changing. It's changing, and it's really annoying in a way because I was totally going to call my next show historically accurate. The plan was to have a poster, take the shock away, but was going to have a poster and it was going to be me in like a suit, nicely dressed, but holding a microphone, as you do for a comedy page or a comedy publicity shot. But basically I was going to have shackles around my wrists and my neck, very similar to the ones that are up around now getting shared ever since the Prime Minister said there wasn't any slavery in Australia. And I'm paraphrasing, but basically he was defending Captain Cook and saying that, he wasn't a slave trader and there was no slavery in Australia. We'll get to that. But where we are right now, it is the 12th of June, halfway through. So calling the shittiest year. Man, COVID's been so good to me. I keep saying it. It's crazy shit's happened. Exciting news podcast-wise and TV show-wise. But I guess might as well get into the protest. It was great to see the numbers. It's really odd thinking that the majority of the people that are out there protesting across Australia right now are 20 years younger than me, which is fantastic. I was never a big protester. I don't like going to those crowds sort of situations. They fill me with a lot of anxiety because most of the time I went there, it was as a journalist and I had to be all neutral and shit, and watching people and care about interact with the cops but not being able to intervene because you film it. There's a lot of levels to it. I'm really happy for the people that go out and do it. This has never been my thing. I have the luxury of being able to express myself in so many different ways. I've got platforms, and I get that protesting is marching and stuff is what people do. You got to be seen. I'm also aware though now that it's more publicity stunt in a lot of cases for a lot of people. Like the amount of people that went to these things and just took photos of themselves, I wouldn't have enjoyed it. It was beautiful to see though. Beautiful to see the numbers. But yeah, I've got personal sort of perspectives on it that make things a bit different. And I'm going to put the fan on because I'm sweating my ring out. I've got a couple of layers of clothes on because footy's back. Put on the footy Guernsey, ready for the season to kick off, restart. Damn, I was going to hide I was drinking kombucha, but I just showed the label. The protests and marches, and they're very different here in Australia as opposed to the ones in the States. The ones in the States are very much, the president wants them to stop. Ours are organised sort of demonstrations of numbers and support. It's a battlefield in the States. I just feel a little bit different about it. If there was cops threatening to stop black people going places, I would totally sign up for that. This is it was a beautiful sign of support around the country, and so yeah, didn't really feel the need to attend. But again, really nice to see all over the place. There's one in Perth tomorrow, which I do wish I was for because I know a lot of people that are going to be there. But it's just encouraging, and this is the thing, I'm one of the most cynical people going around. But it is really encouraging to see so many young people doing it. 18-year-olds organising it and getting it mobile themselves. And it's not just kids of colour and Indigenous kids. It's their educated white friends. It's their friends who are growing up with them, and it's not like when I was a kid and the one brown kid in the group you called him bloody cocky or you called him chock and all that sort of shit. It's nothing like that now. Not with kids. Kids are so much. Well, let's calm down with the compliments for them, but they're better. They're getting better when it comes to this sort of stuff. Everything's changing. The movies God, what a knee-jerk, weird reaction. So in case you're not familiar with the news, a lot of movies and films are being taken down and offline at the moment as a response, like Gone with the Wind, Little Britain. Little Britain never really offended me. I just hated catchphrases more than anything. But I get it. All right, so this is the situation right now. Huge companies are trying to make a statement and say that they are supporting this racial shift or the shift towards racial tensions. And they're trying to be supportive, but they're doing it the only way they know how. They're just like, go on, right. I get it. Should totally take out the shitty stuff. But at the same time, right, here's where I'm kind of like, no, let's keep it up as a reminder to how shitty things were. Because hopefully kids and younger generations are being educated enough that if they ever come across these old movies, these old TV shows, they can go, man, that is fucked up. That would be the response I would want. I would prefer that if the next generation coming through could see how shitty things were and be like, how did people do this? How do people live like that? Because erasing the past isn't, you kind of doomed to repeat it. No, that's not right. I think you're sweeping it under the carpet. I have a huge issue with Disney redoing their cartoons and making them more socially acceptable. You're just hiding the past, and Lady and the Tramp, the new version on Disney's Plus app. They've got so much diversity within early 1900s, late 1800s Washington in the States, right? You got black people sitting on benches eating lunch together. No, they fucking didn't. No, they did not. You got black women sitting on the front of train carriages. No, they did not. The dogs are running through railway stations where black workers got their gloves and they're working in the railway station. Don't get me wrong. The black people worked on the rail station. They did not have PPE. They did not have a fucking union. That's my issue with this fucking, covering shit up. I like the way Warner Brothers did it. They just put a big plaque in front of their cartoons and they just went, this shit's fucked, but this is when they were made. This is how they were. We're not going to hide from it. This is what we did, and we were pretty fucked about it. Of course they'll still make money out of it, but Jesus, it's like Puma and Adidas denying their Nazi heritage, or NASA. Everyone's got some sort of shit to cover up and hide. But I'm not a big fan of completely eliminating these films just to take them out of sight, out of mind. I feel like maybe all the streaming services could just have a category, like fucked up now, or problematic movies. Just sometimes you feel like going down memory lane. Maybe that should just be a section. Don't eliminate it. I feel like hiding it is actually worse. But it is encouraging if kids coming through right now will see this sort of stuff and go, nah, this isn't right. Totally shouldn't. Hey, why is that white dude covered in soot? But it doesn't seem like it's easing up or slowing down in the States, especially with an amazing leader who's just... My wife actually got really upset. I don't know if you saw the vision of the old 75-year-old dude who got knocked over by the riot police. I think he was trying to return a helmet to one of the cops and the complete correct reaction from them, I guess, in their eyes was to fucking knock the poor prick over, and blood started coming out of his fucking ear, man. I'm probably way off this, but back in the day, that used to be you crack their skull. But and then old mate Donald Trump's tweeting about this dude's a part of Antifa, and just garbage. There's no leadership. Speaking of, back to Australia. Get off the USA's dick for a second. How good's ScoMo? Excuse me, this fucking beard. It's mustache, man. It's growing up my nose. It's annoying the shit out of me. I'm trying not to sneeze. So our Prime Minister, ScoMo, is defending a statue, because they're pulling down statues all over the States. This kind of tags on to problematic movies being removed and stuff like that. They're pulling down statues. Here's the thing, right? I'm for it, but again, it's a case of hiding history. Maybe rather than pull down those statues and throw them away to never be seen again, find a nice little garden full of cactuses and shit and stack them all there. Something something. I was wondering, people getting statues built for themselves, knowing that they were a piece of shit. Were they kind of a little bit apprehensive about it? Very few of them actually said, hey, you know what, I'm going to build a statue of myself. A lot of the time it was done on their behalf to recognize their achievements. And if you had some skeletons in your closet, you might have kind of been like, no, just enough for the statue. I don't think erase that history. Definitely keep it in our, make sure we're always aware of it. This statue used to be here. Now it's over here because these people belong in this particular part of history. It'll work itself out. There's always that overcompensation. There's always that not knee-jerk reaction, but there's always that instant reaction. It's like, all right, we're going to fucking sort this out. I'm a little bit worried that they're going to start, trying to recast old movies and shit. And you'll know we've gone too far when you get like an ice hockey movie, like slap short of fucking, what is it, Legend or something like that. And they just start casting black guys in hockey movies. I'm sure that'll be a point where we're kind of like, nah, we've gone too far. But this is what's going to happen now. So a really dear friend of mine, Bridget Brennan, is going to be the first Indigenous news reporter to sit on the political TV show Insiders on Sunday on the weekend. I'm going to be on Triple J this weekend. Tonight, like a couple of hours. And everybody's talking about representation across platforms. Here's where the issue is, okay? There's going to be this knee-jerk reaction. Right, let's just get all the brown people and chuck them on camera, show that we are good and we're down with this. We got black friends. The problem with that is, right, the people that instilled the culture in those institutions in the first place, that created it and made it an unwelcoming place, are the ones making these decisions to bring in people of color. If you're one of those people, right, who essentially, if you're one of those people that essentially are trying to correct your organization's behavior, even though your organization's been doing the wrong thing for a very long time, you're probably not the best person for it. All right, so I wrote this thing that I really want to work on, but it's a point I'm really trying to make because a lot of organizations are scrambling now to get any person of color in to help. And this is the thing. Like if you're not familiar with the culture or whatever it is, you may not be helping. All right, what I'm trying to say is like there's comedy shows, there's news shows, there's every commercial entity on TV, they have writing rooms, okay? And so these rooms will bring in a special guest contributor. And if you have to do that to cover a topic in your community, if some of you are working with more than one person that you went to uni with in these organizations, if you've never known what it's like to have no one you can talk to at work, you've got no fucking concept of diversity and you're probably the problem. Okay, and if you're not sure what I mean, it's going to become evident soon. All right, and there's no real market for improving diversity and making things better at the moment, not in Australia, because we're clearly outnumbered. There are amazing cases like my little brother, Maine Wyatt. Okay, just came to not prominence, but he became rather popular. He went a bit viral after he did a speech on Q&A. And the difference with that, right, he did a piece out of his show, City of Gold. And it's gone viral. People are going, oh my God, this is so powerful. This is so poignant. Here's the thing, right? The huge advantage that piece had that Maine performed on Q&A. If you haven't seen it, I'll chuck something up at some point. But he's an Indigenous actor who's been in a lot of TV shows, a lot of movies. And now people are paying attention because he got onto Q&A and he read something he wrote from his life experience without being filtered by some fucking beige know-it-all producer cunt who always seems to get into these little roles where they can affect art. Okay, that didn't happen in this case. Maine got on stage and he read a piece of his life on stage, and people lost their fucking mind because it was nothing they've ever heard before. This is the crazy bit. There are so many artists, Indigenous artists out there right now who are trying to express themselves, but they have to keep going through this convoluted, horrible system of older white people telling them, oh no, this won't work. Oh, who's going to find this appealing? This doesn't really work. We should probably cut this for brevity. This needs to be tighter. All that shit, okay? Because they don't understand it. And then these are the people that are responsible for passing on this art to the broader community. And then the minute you remove that person, something amazing happens. You know, something poignant. So it comes out. And that's what I love about stand-up comedy. Right? I don't put my stuff through anybody before I put it on stage. I test it. I take it out there, and it's the purest thing. And that's where I've really got an issue with some of these comedy rooms, some of these programs that produce comedy content, okay? What they're doing is they've got a really, really white room. And not even that, not a very diverse room. You could have some people of color, sure, but they probably all grew up in the same suburbs as you did in the same city. They're not going to be that different to each other. There's a lack of diversity within that room. And they're bringing in people of color to read their lines. It's fucking garbage, and it happens all the time, and they are well aware of who they are. But they're like, no, we're the only ones who could possibly do this job. You know, we know what our audience wants and we know what they like. But we would like to have someone of color that we can operate like a black puppet. It's fucking garbage, and it's everywhere. Something that I really, really want to get on top of. But I'll address that because there's some exciting stuff coming up now. And as far as... Actually, I'll talk about the Prime Minister before I move on to this next thing. I'm jumping all over the place, but there's quite a few topics I want to cover before I go and get on the radio and done. I'm glad I'm only doing 30 minutes every now and then because it's better to get up and have something to say as opposed to fucking fumbling around and trying to find stuff. So, our Prime Minister, Scott Morrison. You know, I find it even funnier when everyone's like, oh my God, our Prime Minister's so shit. Yeah, Bill Shorten couldn't beat this guy. That's what I fucking love about the situation. Bill Shorten couldn't beat this guy. So when I was working on the Jim Jeffries show, we tried to get Bill Shorten in for an interview, and we could not secure him. He wouldn't sit down and do an interview with Jim Jeffries, and he didn't do any interviews in the lead up to that election 2 years ago. He just did not do anything to push, or was it a year ago? 2018, yeah. He just he basically was going to Steve Bradbury it. He's like, Scott Morrison, he talks in tongues. He thinks God's in his pocket. We got this sorted. So he was just going to skate through all the media, not taking any hard questions, not do any hard interviews, and win the prime ministership. And he fucking didn't. And every time Scott Morrison fucks up, makes people think, oh my God, what a moron. I'm like, yeah. And Shorten couldn't beat that, which I find absolutely hilarious. So this dick stick decides that in a statement defending Cook that there was no slavery in Australia. He said that Cook was not a slave trader and that New South Wales was not, while other slave ships were flying around, New South Wales was established without slave labour. All right, Scott, if you're chained up around the neck and in the forearms, and then you are tied to the front of a horse and held at gunpoint and told to lead me to water, you are not an employee. You are not an employee, buddy. You're a slave. There were slaves in the Kimberley. There were slaves everywhere, all over the country. Anytime they did not see Indigenous Australians and go, look, my equal. Want to see what they think? No. They were inconvenience or they were free labour. And even if it was the blackfellas near Halls Creek and in the East Kimberley who said, hey, can we get paid for working your cattle on the land that was ours? And they were kicked off and told to walk across the Kimberley, 1,000 kilometres. Also, that's slavery. It's, the infuriating part, though, is that you can get to that office, that you can become a Prime Minister in Australia and still spout off something like that. Certain people can, a certain kind of people can, from those secret clubs that exist. And there's plenty. There's heaps. It's bullshit. Used to cut cane fields, all that sort of stuff. There was absolutely, unequivocally, nobody in their right mind can honestly. This is why I hate answering it. Is the fact that does anyone genuinely believe there wasn't slavery in Australia? I just that's going to get nailed. I can't wait to talk about that on Triple J. But at the same time, though, it feels like one of these things. I want to get worked up about it, but I'm kind of at the point where I was like, really? I got to explain this shit? That's where I'm at. I've had a few friends message me and asking me, so many Aboriginal people my age or around, we're fucking tired, man. We're so tired of just kind of like, really, you need this explained. It's like those people that say all lives matter, those incendiary cunts. They don't actually have any aim, and they're not going to change anything or alter anything, but they totally need to express it. It's just incendiary. But he's a fuckhole, but Bill Shorten still couldn't beat him. All right, let's see. Diversity on TV. Oh, AFL is back. This is an interesting moment because I love the game. I absolutely love the game. Last night was great. I just sat on the couch and just watched football. Wife still tried to act like COVID was on and she could talk to me, but sorted that out. It was really nice. It's a nice gesture. It looks pretty when all the players took a knee. And thing is, man, those sort of gestures, they look nice. They look really nice. But poor old so if you don't know, during the Richmond and Collingwood game, all the players in the middle of the ground before the game took a knee, basically supporting Black Lives Matter and Colin Kaepernick, who had his life taken, his life earnings, his livelihood taken off him when he took a knee a couple of years ago and was basically booted out of his league. There's something, these symbolic gestures, they're lovely. That's all they are. They're lovely. Kaepernick's okay now. He's got all these Nike sponsorships and stuff, and he's still helping people. But it is nice to know that there are all of these gestures and stuff being made. And this is my other thing too. If anybody has a go at me for not going to a march, I'll take my body of work and what I do and how I raise awareness. And there are people who will literally go to a march, take a photo, and then do fuck all for the rest of their lives. It's a weird thing that there are people taking photos of their receipts for the donations they make, and they're telling people, show your receipts. Fuck off, man. I've had it quoted to me a few times. I'm not a biblical person. I don't know, but they're telling me if you give with your right hand, your left hand shouldn't know about it. I like it. It's poetic. Funny thing is, I think it's in the Quran and the Bible. But it's... Yeah, the amount of people that are doing stuff in the vain hope that other people will notice, that's the thing that's leaving a bad taste in my fucking mouth. If you want to just do it because you want to do it, great. Absolutely no one should stop you. But I'm just losing patience with all of this. Look at me, I'm doing this. I'm like, there was the whole thing with the black picture as your profile pic on Instagram, the Blackout Tuesday. That's fine if you're in the community, in those areas, organizing stuff, great. If you're just doing it to show support, fuck off. It was just so redundant. I thought it was redundant anyway, which I know isn't fair to the people that did it. But fuck them. I'm just over the slacktivism on Facebook as opposed to actually researching the people you vote for and all that sort of stuff. I'm trying not to get into this sort of stuff, not too much, because I'll do it on stage. But looking like stand-up's going to start rolling again, which is great. I've got a lot of built-up anger and tension and stuff that I know is going to make great stand-up when it gets going. There's even a few jokes in here somewhere. But we're heading to it's funny, I'm going to be going down to the north coast of New South Wales, and the border restrictions are much tighter going into Queensland, because, New South Wales has had more cases than most places. I know that when I cross that border, when I go down there in a couple of weeks, I'm just going to kind of I just know I'm going to be all paranoid about it, but it'll be fun. I can't wait to get on stage. I'm rusty as fuck, though, if you can't tell. I guess I'll finish on this because we're just creeping up. My battery's going out. I've done enough time, but some really exciting news as far as getting stand-up back on track. Writing, I think I've got my show in mind that I want to do, but God knows when that's going to happen. Got an ABC podcast coming out, comedy podcast. It's an hour of last couple of years' material, all in one show, novelty act. We obviously don't have the visual aids because it's not going to, you can't see it, you've got to listen to it. But that's very exciting. That'll be out soon. I'll let you all know when that is up. And just received a nice little bit of, bit of funding to get my Road to Mongolia, the story of my wife and her heading to the Mongol Derby, horse race. Her training, we're going to make it funny and show how little I know about horses. And so that's really exciting. Get to work and try to develop and turn that into something and maybe get that off the ground and turn that into a documentary, which is awesome, as well as footy legends. So we did a little bit of a thing with an old football mate of mine where we were just talking about footy legends that we played with back in the day, and that seems to have some legs. So going to be working on a few projects. Some very exciting, cool things are coming up. And thank you, everybody who keeps following and liking. We've gone from 20 views to 40 views to 100 views, and the baby steps. And thank you, everyone that keeps saying that they'll listen and subscribe and follow because you do it. And I'm hoping you're enjoying it. And I hope I didn't go too all over the place. I'm going to get on the ABC radio soon and talk about Triple J, talk about a bunch of stuff. Let's see how we go. It will be interesting because a very dear friend of mine, Jen Fricker, actually called out the ABC, Triple J, for their behaviour as well as far as treating people of colour. So, look, I'm looking forward to the chat. Tune in. But, Kaya, I hopefully will not take this long to get back to another one, but I'll definitely have something to say the next time I do. Deuces.